Hello everyone and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I am drawing my OC Belphegor, and before we get into it, I have a confession, and I know if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know, but I'm not about to lie to you guys. So I forgot to give her a piece of jewelry on her chin to represent her little goat beard in her god form. But listen, she's literally the goddess of sloth, so she wasn't bothered to put it on her face this morning, and that's my excuse why it's not in the speed paint. Not because I forgot. This isn't getting repetitive at all. Listen, so if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and if you don't like this video, I'm gonna be upset. Yep. I really should have written, I'm going to write out my intros from now on, because these are getting bad. Anyway, on to the video. So, Bel is the goddess of sloth, hopelessness, failure, melancholy, and procrastination, but she's also the goddess of sleep, recovery, and dreams. Specifically, the dreams you have when you're, asleep, not the, not aspirations. That would be Gabriel's job in this universe. Bel is definitely one of the more dangerous gods. I mean, she could literally make everyone dream about anything she wants them to dream about. Basically, bending people's opinions by making them think they want something through dreams. Pretty scary. It's also worth mentioning that while it's in the thumbnail, and currently what I'm rolling with, her preferred punishment right now might not be throwing people into a pit of snakes. Purely because Asmo and Diaz are snakes, and that might get a little awkward at family reunions. So, Bel is one of the youngest of our 15, which is odd because Gabriel is one of the oldest, and they oppose each other, and when something opposes something else, they usually form at the same time. Imagine thinking you don't have to worry about, having someone to oppose you, and then suddenly she just appears. She's still millions of years old, though, so nothing to worry about. When she was told that all the gods were planning to create offspring, she was like, that's way too much work. Until she was told that said offspring would do some of her work for her, and then she was sold. She did, however, conjure up the cocoon and then just leave it there, so all the other gods may or may not have ended up keeping it alive and growing until her son Nem was born, which she was like, who would like to raise my child? I don't want to raise my child. Who wants to do it for me? Until she found out that the little dude was actually pretty chill. When I say Nem was a golden child, I mean, he cried sometimes, but, she could just give him to someone else when he did, or maybe just be like, hey, you want a hug? And sometimes that worked. And, then all she had to do was get her maids and butlers to feed him and do all the icky things that parents have to do, like clean up vomit. And then he could hang out with her all day. Mother of the year, am I right? Not really. She's just lucky he turned out to be a calm toddler, earning himself the title of the god of tranquility. Man is as still as a lake. Imagine if he had turned out to be the most energetic toddler ever. That would have been really funny. Anyway, enough about her son. This is about her. So, I forgot to mention this, but the only reason she doesn't show up everywhere in her pajamas is because Mammon and Beelzebub casually whispered in her staff's ears to make sure she looked as presentable as possible before she left her dwellings. And even then, they can't stop her from wearing the same jacket over every outfit. Listen, it's comfy, and it looks mostly good until an outfit is the wrong color for it. But that's the outfit's fault, not hers. Or she stains it, but they don't have time to wash it, and she has to wear it out. She cannot and will not go anywhere without that jacket, coffee-stained or not. Other than that, she was a pretty bad ruler. Before she started getting her son to do it, she'd start something, get tired of it, take a break, and then forget about it. So basically, she's the county council. Anyone who's not Irish is not going to get that joke, but the people that are will, so that's good enough. And then the cycle would continue like that. And don't get me wrong, most gods leave the city ruling to their children. However, they do that so that they can focus on being gods. Because while their children are also gods, they tend to have less on their plate since they aren't part of the original 15. Technically, they're not the original are 2, but that's the whole separate thing. But in Bel's case, she did it so she can sleep more. You know, when I said she's one of the most dangerous, I really should have said that she could be one of the most dangerous if she had the drive, but she really doesn't. She would let the world burn for 1 extra minute of sleep, and you have to respect that, you know? In saying all of that, though, there have been times where she gets up and does something when needed. For instance, when annoying Gabriel is on her daily chores, that becomes her first priority. And despite seeming like she's doing nothing while she sleeps, she is in fact making dreams for people ahead of time. Think of it as her managing her own kingdom apart from reality, making sure people's dreams don't seep into one another, learning about new arrivals, aka babies, so she can shape their dreams around them, and deciding who she gonna mess up with a nightmare this time. Listen, if you're doing something for millions of years, it's gonna get boring. You know? The most fun she had was making dreams for dinosaurs, and they're not here anymore. So, you know, you have to make it interesting in your own way. So you could argue that Belle's not lazy. She's technically constantly working, even though, you know, like when she's awake, she's also thinking of ideas to use. So she's lazy in reality, but not in her dream space, basically. I mean, you could say that. So, on to the speed paint. What did I do? Well, for one, Krita was really glitchy today, and it could be because my storage might be going on bad, because I kind of record these things and then forget to delete them. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, everything was going everywhere today for some reason. Slow down the video and count how many times my line jumped when I was doing a tiny line. I dare you. I don't know if that's actually what that's called, but you know when you're like drawing a tiny line and the next thing the line's over the other side of the page for no reason? I don't know what was happening. I was, however, struggling with her pose. So like the wonderful, brilliant artist I am, instead of getting a reference, I just changed the pose because, I mean, references are so last year and the pose doesn't look in any way janky. Do not try to reference this with an actual, like, skeleton beside it, please. By the way, in case you didn't get it, I'm really just kidding. Please use references. It's very good for you and your art, and I just like to suffer for some reason. Like, if you can tell when I have a reference with my art. Like, like, I don't think I've really ever used a reference for, like, a pose on this channel, which is really bad, but when I do, my art is like 10 times better. So, you know, when you're drawing, use a reference. Moral of the story, don't be like me. Do as I say, not as I do. I made her a goat centaur because I thought of it midway through and I thought it'd be cool. Like, I really don't have a reason for that. I was just like, ooh, you know what I should do? So, I also made her top cropped halfway through because I felt like it. I don't know. And I thought about making her jacket a light color. But honestly, whose comfort clothing is white? Let's be so honest. And besides, the jacket's not necessarily supposed to match anyway, although it looked quite okay with this outfit, to be honest. If anything, the problem with it is that it's just too similar to the other colors. Anyway, I made her hair mildly messy, but not very, because again, her maids do it for her, but I also wanted it to be messy, like she just took a power nap and then got rained on a little bit. Just for reference, I guarantee you her hair was straight before now. Also, am I the only one that loves like the natural like wave of curly or like curliness that happens when you get rained on? I go out with friends and they like complain about it, and I'm here like, Curly, you look gorgeous, you know? But you know, there's the other side of it where like a lot of those friends actually have like natural wavy or curly hair and they straighten their hair. So if I were to straighten my hair in the morning, wanting it to be straight for the day, and I got rained on and it went mildly curly and then all that work went down the drain, I'd be a little like angry too. You know what I mean? But you know, hashtag wear that damp hair with pride, girl. You know, even like, what you should take from this, basically, is even if you do hate getting your hair wet, I want you to know that you look good either way. Kiss, kiss, mwah, mwah. I need to cough really badly and drink. I need to drink and cough really badly. I can't wait for editing me to have to listen to that ASMR without an ASMR warning, because I won't remember that I did this. Anyway, I was just going to go for silver for her jewelry, but because everything else is kind of blue, I thought gold might look better, and I think I'm right. But let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Her horns were also originally just going to be small little like goat horns, but I thought I'd make them a little bit more extravagant just because why not, honestly. By the way, I read Mindful of Murder like 2 weeks ago now. And I can't remember if I mentioned it before, so here's my quickest review with minimum spoilers. I know you guys didn't come here for this, but this is what my channel's about. Randomly stopping talking about like what's actually happening in the video and talking about something else instead. So, we are so back, baby. This book was like way better than I thought it was going to be. If I'm honest, Phase 2 had me like slightly dreading Phase 3, but the standard went like way up, and I think part of the reason is because in Phase 2, he originally had like 9 books planned out, but then that was cut down to 6, which is like, 3 books that he had to condense into the rest of them. Whereas he's going into Phase 3 knowing it's going to be a trilogy, so the pacing is much better. And, just much more thought out. Also, I'm so happy that he's leaning back into, like, the detective aspect and cut down on the amount of characters focused on in a book. However, there's been more characters introduced. And to be fair, I like them all. Like, even the Corval students, I know, wow. Like, whoa. Unpopular opinion, I actually like Never. I'm not elaborating on that. I just thought they were funny. My problem with more characters getting introduced, though, is that if anything, it probably will make the side characters that already have like very little character development have even less. But we'll see, I guess. I mean, I can see it working out because of like the way he's broken them into groups. I'm assuming Dexter and Kieri are going to be in like a block with Temper. Like, they weren't in this book, but I'm assuming that's going to be the block. Because I can't think of anyone else unless he introduces more new characters, which I kind of hope he doesn't. But we'll see. Maybe Tanith might be brought into that as well. I don't know. She might not be. I'd say if she is, she'll be dipping in and out between that and then Valkyrie and like Skullduggery's block. But we'll see again. If they are, I think it'll work out well because there's not too many in a block with anybody right now. Whereas I feel like if Dexter was to join the main group again, he's going to be sidelined again. And this man has been in the series for so long. Since Phase 1. And he has barely had any character development. He's had less than some of the Phase 2 characters. Oh yeah, and by the way, not only has he been in the series since like Phase 1, he also had a whole book where he was one of the main characters. It was a spin-off book. Anyway. Also, because I think pairing him with Kieri as a duo would be funny. Don't ask why, I just know, like, in my heart it would be. And him and Temper are obviously friends already, so it works. Also, because Kieri needs more development, I really like her, but she doesn't, there's not a lot to her right now, which is fine because she's only been in a few books. But I'd like more, do you know what I mean? Anyway, my only other complaint with this book, aside from what the ending hints at, which I won't say, but those who've read it know, is that Temper and Dexter and Kieri weren't in it, and I thought they would be when it was revealed to be a slasher. But honestly, this book did not disappoint. And it had me, like, properly gripped the entire way through. Like, I read it in literally, like, a day, the second I got the chance. Like, because when I got the book, my cousin was down. So I read that, like, up to chapter, like, 5, because I was only able to read a chapter a day when she was down. Which is fine. I just really wanted to read more, And then the day she left, I finished the whole book. I thought the plot twists were actually really good in this book. And although I couldn't follow along with half of Skullduggery's deductions, I think that was kind of the point, because Valkyrie didn't really get it either. So, I'd honestly give it a solid 9 out of 10, missing the 1 because Temper wasn't in it, and Temper really did carry a good bit of Phase 2 for me, and then Sebastian did, which is funny, because when it was revealed who he was, I actually didn't like that character, but I really liked Sebastian. I don't know. I might do a non-spoiler free video on it, but we'll see. No promises. Also, I found it really funny how they, like, figured it all out in the end. Those of you who have read it know, but there was, like, a plot twist at the end, and the way the plot twist worked was really funny. The first plot twist, not the second one. I don't know if they both count as plot twists, but technically they were. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Guys, I didn't write down an Irish word of the day. Oh no. Or the week even. It's cockamillish. It's cake. To be honest, it technically means sweet cake, but you never just say caca. You always say cockamillish, so sweet cake it is. Anyway, bye-bye.